Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another review. Today I'm going to review a discontinued fragrance, and that too a Tom Ford. Surprise, surprise. Tom Ford is probably one of those amazing brands which makes amazing fragrances and then discontinues them one after the other mercilessly. I don't know why. Plum Japonais. Plum Japonais, wow. It is one of those fragrances which just wins you over. The more you wear it, the more you love it. And then you shed a tear because this is discontinued. What can I say? Okay, Plum Japonais. So why Plum Japonais? Why Japonais? So I did a bit of research, and according to Wikipedia and the web, plum blossoms are the signal of arrival of spring in Japan. They're the first blossoms, or the very first blossoms that get on the tree, and only second to cherry blossoms of Japan. So they hold a very dear place in Japanese society. They signal the arrival of spring. Earliest blossom on the trees are the ume blossoms, and they have a festival called Ume Matsuri. Ume Matsuri is basically the celebration of arrival of spring, and if you look at their shrines, they have these shrines completely full of plum trees which blossom the first, and it's a big affair. And ladies, dress in their traditional Japanese costumes and go to these shrines. It's a big affair, and that's why they call it Plum Japonais, just to celebrate the significance of plum in the Japanese culture. So I've already got a spray here which I've put on this blotter about half an hour ago, and I've been wearing this non-stop all week, and I'm loving it. And I've got precious little left because I'm going to do a comparison video. There's something in my collection which thankfully reminds you all a little bit of Plum Japonais. So, Plum Japonais was released in 2013 and subsequently discontinued. Their perfumer is Jan Vastnier. And Jan Vastnier has created some amazing works. I think I couldn't remember which ones I've reviewed, but I quite like his style. And here it is an amazing fragrance. So, when you first spray, you're immediately reminded of a conserve, which is a plum chutney. Spiced plum chutney. It doesn't smell like fresh plum. It smells like a plum chutney, spiced up. And what's the spice? Cinnamon. Wonderful cinnamon, and a dose of foodie sort of saffron, almost gourmandy. Yeah? Spicy bite, almost like you'd smell cumin. But I don't see cumin listed in the notes, and it's a woody facet. Underneath that chutney is a woody smell, almost like a log of cedar, fresh cut. So spicy plum chutney with log of cedar, and on top is a beautiful cinnamon, absolutely amazing, delectable, delicious, and saffron, foodie saffron. That saffron is combined with another floral, immortale, which gives it a leather facet, which you get in about an hour's time. So in an hour's time, you will get this leathery smell, immortale, and along with that, a booziness. It doesn't take an hour to get the booziness out, in about 15 minutes or so. It smells like a plum liqueur, and that boozy plum liqueur, supported with the smell of this resinous chutney and this cinnamon, is what makes this fragrance so likable. It is just, one of those fragrances that you spray and you feel happy. It is really celebratory in nature. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And then, this is just the beginning. When you let the fragrance sit about half an hour, 1 hour maybe, suddenly it starts to get greener facets, almost like a pine forest-like smell. And there's a fir balsam note here. I really like fir balsam when it's combined with fruits. In many fragrances I've seen, it gives it an airy feel. Okay, and there's this oud in this fragrance, which is not skanky, but you can see that you're smelling oud. And when the fragrance dries down, it starts to smell more and more woodier, more warm, more gourmandy, and more airy. And I don't know how they've done it, because all the notes are mentioned are heavy notes. And the fragrance is almost like an ethereal air, almost like a celebratory mind would be, light, beautiful, happy. It smells like the inside of a log cabin, like a holiday home you would visit in the Swiss Alps, that sort of thing. It's very comforting, very comfortable, very woody, and very dry, and very joyous. The smell itself is absolutely joyful, like you would feel after a very harsh winter when the first blossoms start to appear. Here in the UK, you have apple blossoms, cherry blossoms, you have plum as well. But my garden is absolutely delightful place in early spring. And what that does to your mind, it makes you happy. This is how the fragrance makes you feel. It's a very joyous fragrance, very, very, very happy kind of. It makes me very happy. I really enjoy this fragrance, and I'm kicking myself. That I have not reviewed this for a long, long time. I have had this sample since 2018, so almost 6.5 years, and I didn't review it because two things happened. When I first smelled it, I smelled it in sort of autumn, assuming it's a fruity scent, plum. So I had left it for autumn. It didn't work on my skin in autumn. Then I brought it out this winter, and it's the dead of winter, very cold. I sprayed 2 on my jacket and walked out. And the smell, the absolute beauty of the smell just floored me, right? And I'll tell you the details later on of what happened that day, which is why I'm reviewing it. So, upsides and downsides. Number one upside, it's a fantastic creation. Cinnamon plum with a healthy dose of saffron, oud, and all the licorice, or yes, there's licorice as well, which is not mentioned. All the licorice booziness that is there because of Immortelle is just so unique. The only fragrance that comes to mind is Femme du Bois, and Femme du Bois has the same note of plum and cinnamon. It also has peach and has a huge dose of cedar, which I get here as well, not mentioned. So there are similarities to Femme du Bois, and there is similarity to another fragrance which is discontinued. And it is this L'Enfant Terrible by Joa. And this one probably is 50% there. This has got more cumin. Plum Japonais has cumin as well. It's just that it's not mentioned. You can smell it. It's a spiced up chutney, plum chutney. So, number one upside is the creativity. The fragrance is enormously creative. It's one of the nicest, one of the most well-made, well thought out and well executed fruity, spicy, woody scents out there. It's stunning. There's no two ways about it. It's absolutely stunning. Number two is a massive compliment factor. You get, women especially, when they smell this on you, they get completely perplexed and overjoyed smelling you. Happened to me that day when I put 2 on my jumper, or jacket I should say. I went to a shop that I go to rarely, but it's a tool station kind of a place where you go and buy some tools and stuff like that. So I went there, I wanted to buy some tools, and I know the lady, I've been there many times. When I was paying for it, she must have smelt it on me, and she said, "Oh, glad to see you after such a long time, how are you," this and that. And the pleasantness in her voice and her eyes was telling me that she was really liking this. You will really impress people if you were to get this fragrance, if you could get hold of it. The third upside has to be the performance. The performance is incredible, like all private blends. This one has a longevity of about a day on your clothes, on your skin about 12 hours, easy. It projects most beautifully for about an hour and then recedes a little bit to a half an arm's length. And it is a fantastic trail scent. It creates a beautiful scent bubble. If somebody walks into the scent bubble, like that lady, they are absolutely amazed, and it smells absolutely incredible. It also has a fantastic trail. I've seen people just go like that when you go past them. It is something. Downsides. Obviously, it is discontinued, and the other one is that this is unisex. I wouldn't say this is unisex. This is unisex leaning masculine because of the spicy notes I mentioned. But it is unisex, and that could bother some people. It's also powdery. The nature, the vanillic sort of ambery dry down that we have along with the oud has a powdery facet. So that could be a problem as well for some people. But the biggest downside of this fragrance is that it's discontinued and it's being sold for obscene prices. 400 pounds, 500 ml, 50 ml, whatever. It's ridiculously expensive. It's not worth it. If you're really craving this, you can look at Perfume Parlor. They do a nice clone of this. You can also look at Alexandria Fragrances. They also do a clone of this. I already have something which reminds me of this, La Infante Terrible, so I'm not too fussed. But yeah, is it very nice? Is it something that you would spend 400 pounds for? Completely depends on your financial circumstances. I wouldn't say you should, because there are many options available. And if you're really craving Plum Japonais, you could look at the clones, like I mentioned. So, seasons. I think this will work in every season apart from summer. I've tried it in autumn, tried it in winter. It smells amazing. I'm pretty sure it will work beautifully in spring as well. It's, after all, celebrating spring. And the notes are such. There's a note of cypress, there's a note of fir, which gives it a greenness, airiness. It is also very airy and ethereal. So those sort of fragrances smell very good in spring, provided your springs are spring. In some nations, some countries, there is no spring. It's straight away summer. I do not know how that will smell in summer. I haven't tried it in summer. Performance I've touched. Fantastic performance, compliment factor, massive. Age groups, any age groups. Gender, any gender. So I would say this will suit anybody. This is delectable, delicious, and extremely well made. And just puts a smile on your face every time. So, value for money. If you can get, you can't get this now for reasonable price, unfortunately. I hope Tom Ford bring this back, because you sometimes sit and wonder what takes Tom Ford to, sort of discontinue a fragrance, a masterpiece like this. There are many fragrances they've discontinued. Some of them I have in my collection, and you suddenly start to think, why would you discontinue a fragrance as good as this? What on earth happened? Probably there's a reason for it. Probably didn't sell. I do not know. But you just can't, I can't believe they discontinued this. It's an incredible scent. So, miles out of 10. If this was in production, I would have given it a 10 out of 10. It's so good. It's so well made. But since this is not in production, and I do not want you to go crazy, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. If you ever find it for a reasonable price, you must get it. It's beautiful. So, 8 out of 10. I'm hoping you enjoyed the review, fellas. Take care. Bye-bye.